If you are interested in picking up anything from G Fuel over the next couple of weeks, I've got some good news for you. My friends over at G Fuel have boosted my discount code IMMORTAL to get you a 30% discount on basically everything on the site, all the way until December 26th. So if you want to try a new tub, restock your current favorite flavor, or check out anything else, Code IMMORTAL has got you covered. And now on to today's video. Now, I've said it before and I'll say it again, Modern Warfare has a very dominant assault rifle lineup. Usually in Call of Duty, we see most of the top weapons in the game scattered across multiple weapon categories, with some SMGs, some rifles, and sometimes even some LMGs in there too. And while there are some decent weapons in some of the other categories, a strong case can be made for nearly every single assault rifle in this game when it comes to what the best weapons actually are. So today, with the new RAM 7 DLC weapon finally here, I figured we would break down and rank every single assault rifle and showcase a dominant attachment setup for each. But before we jump into that, if you are new here, hey, hi, how you doing? I am always covering the latest news and intel regarding Call of Duty, so if you want to keep up with that, feel free to subscribe with your notifications turned on. And of course, if you enjoy the video, let me know by dropping a like rating on it, as it would be much appreciated. And now let's get into ranking every assault rifle here in Modern Warfare. So, starting us off as the worst assault rifle in the game, which, by the way, should not take away from how good this weapon actually is, we have the FAL. Now, the FAL is at the bottom of the list in my opinion, because it has the largest skill gap of any of the rifles because it is semi-auto, and so it relies a lot on you either having a really good trigger finger or a scuff controller, which, by the way, you can use Code IMMORTAL on. Nah, but for real, anytime you have a semi-auto weapon, it's going to be not nearly as effective in certain engagements compared to other fully auto weapons, so close range and sometimes even medium range, the FAL can struggle if you don't have the best trigger finger. However, for the FAL, I found the best setup to be the 13-inch OSW Parabarrel, the GI Mini Reflex, the FSS Close Quarters Stock, the Ranger Foregrip, and also the stippled grip tape, as this ends up increasing the accuracy and the mobility of the weapon, and it actually doesn't decrease any of the stats, which is always nice to see. But because of its nature, the FAL just can't quite hang with some of the other assault rifles in the game. Moving on, at the number 8 spot as the second worst rifle, we have the FR556, which once again is really only knocked down because it's a 3-round burst and not a fully auto weapon, meaning it can be outgunned fairly easily. But with the right setup, the FR556, aka the FAMAS, can be pretty solid, especially in medium range fights where I personally think it excels the most. On my FAMAS, I roll with the FR 24.4-inch Sniper Barrel, the GI Mini Reflex, the FR Ultralight Hollow Stock, the Ranger Foregrip, and once again the stippled grip tape, which ends up giving the weapon some pretty significant boosts, as the accuracy, the range, the mobility, and the control all increase, and once again, there are no decreases. Now, coming in at the number 7 spot as we work our way into the middle of the pack, we have the M13, which is a weapon that I really want to like, but unfortunately I just think it's a little too weak most of the time, more so in long-range fights. Now, on my M13, I choose to use the Tempest Marksman Barrel, the GI Mini Reflex, yeah, it's almost like that's my favorite sight, I guess, the M13 Skeleton Stock, the 50-round mags because the stock mag combined with the damage output is seriously brutal sometimes. Then finally, you'll never guess it, but yeah, the stippled grip tape once again. This setup ends up increasing the accuracy, the range, and the mobility, and only decreases the control. So you end up with a weapon that excels in CQC engagements and some mid-range fights too, but ultimately, the range is a bit lacking with the lower damage compared to some of the other weapons in the class. Next up at number 6, we have the SCAR, which of course is a fan favorite weapon within Call of Duty, and this year it is once again a very dominant gun. The only major drawback of this gun is its lower magazine size, but it is a very powerful rifle as is, so that alone can kinda make up for that smaller magazine. Anyways, on the SCAR, my go-to setup consists of the Forged Tac 17.2-inch LB barrel, the FSS Close Quarters Stock, the Operator Foregrip, the 25-round mags, and the stippled grip tape, which results in the accuracy, the range, and the control all increasing, with only a very minor decrease to the mobility. So you end up with a weapon that has a very fast time to kill that completely dominates those medium and long range fights. Now we get into the newest of all the assault rifles, as the RAM 7 is coming in at the 5 spot. Frankly, I feel like the Ram 7 and the M13 are actually very similar. However, the Ram 7 does feel a little more agile and lightweight, and with its decent speed and damage, I feel like it's definitely better than the M13 and a bit more versatile than the Scar. My ideal setup here is going to end up being the XRK Ranger Barrel, the GI Mini Reflex, the XRK Close Quarters Stock, the 45 round mags, which could definitely be swapped for something else pending your playstyle, and last but not least, the stippled grip tape. So we end up seeing increases to the accuracy, the range, and the control, with only a very minor drop in the mobility, which all around makes for a very solid DLC weapon if you ask me. Following that up, I have the Odin in the number 4 spot, as this is once again a weapon that is incredibly strong. It actually has the best damage out of all the assault rifles in the game, but to counter that, it does also have a very slow fire rate and a pretty small magazine. However, with the right setup, this gun can shred through anything and everything. Now, my attachment setup here starts with the Odin Factory 730mm barrel, then we have the Cronin LP945 Mini Reflex, the Operator foregrip, the 25 round mags, and finally the rubberized grip tape. I know, that's a curveball right there, had to spice things up, you know. But really, this setup really brings out the true power of the Odin, as it can 3-shot enemies at pretty much every single range. This setup increases the accuracy and the range, and decreases the mobility and the control. So the power of the Odin is basically extended even more, and when you land your shots, it is an incredibly rewarding gun to use. Now, getting into the top 3, currently the AK-47 sits as the 3rd best assault rifle in my own opinion, which I know might come as a surprise to a few of you, but honestly, if you can counter the weapon's recoil, it is a very effective gun. Here I'm using the GI Mini Reflex, the Skeleton Stock, the Ranger foregrip, the 40 round mags, and the stippled grip tape, which ends up increasing the accuracy, the range, and the mobility, while only decreasing the control. But the thing is, the AK-47 is so versatile that this is not the only effective setup you can use. This is definitely my most balanced overall setup, but you can build the weapon to fit a more CQC based playstyle, you can build it around playing extreme distances, so on and so forth. So between its versatility and the general strength of the weapon itself, the AK-47 is easily one of the best assault rifles, and arguably one of the best weapons in the entire game. Getting into the number 2 spot, we have the Kilo 141, which to this day is still my absolute favorite weapon to use. Here I've got the Singard Arms 16.6-inch SOCOM barrel, the GI Mini Reflex, the Ranger foregrip, the 50 round mags, and the stippled grip tape, which ends up increasing the accuracy and the range while only decreasing the mobility. And in my mind, the Kilo is like the perfect mix of speed and power that can dominate in short, medium, and long-range fights. But of course, the Kilo can't be the best gun in the game despite its overall consistency, because the M4A1 definitely still holds that spot despite it being nerfed multiple times so far. I mean, honestly, there's not that much you can really say about the M4A1 to take away from just how good it really is. Its mobility is great, you feel like you can run around pretty quickly with it, its damage is solid, the recoil is nearly non-existent, and all of that taken into consideration, there are just so many little things that, when combined, make this rifle the absolute best in the game. Now, on my M4, I use the Corvus Custom Barrel, the Forged Tac CQS stock, the Ranger foregrip, the 50 round mags, and finally, one last time for this video, the stippled grip tape. This setup increases the accuracy, the range, and the control, while it decreases the mobility. So ultimately, you can use an M4 that's even more effective in a larger variety of gunfights, and in this case, the best of the best just gets better. Now, we've got all the assault rifles ranked worst to best, and while there are some very clear things that separate, say, number 1 from number 9, a lot of that middle ground, I would say from the M13 all the way through to the Kilo, is a very tight race in terms of overall effectiveness. There are games where I think the Ram 7 is a number 3 assault rifle. There's others where the AK-47 doesn't necessarily feel like it would always be a top 3 gun. Basically, those middle spots can be very fluid, and of course, as certain buffs and nerfs come into play, I'm sure my standings will ultimately change. But overall, all of these classes should help you find more success in-game. So, with all of that being said, that is how I would rank the assault rifles in Modern Warfare as of right now. Of course, this video is very opinionated, and I'm sure yours is not the exact same as mine, so definitely drop your thoughts on the worst and best rifles down in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed the video, let me know by dropping a like rating on it, as it would be much appreciated. And of course, if you are new here and you want to stay up to date with everything going on in the world of Call of Duty, including all the latest news and intel, updates and leaks, and pretty much everything else in between, feel free to subscribe with your notifications turned on. That way you'll always know when I post a new video. As I mentioned earlier, from now until December 26th, you can use code IMMORTAL to get 30% off your entire G Fuel order, so definitely take advantage of those increased savings while that boost is active. Also, the current Trials and Tribulations design is still available as well, so if you want to pick up a new hoodie and rep the brand, that link can be found down in the description below. Once again, thanks so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.